the way it should. Just make sure that it has things like auto start, and the auto start actually works. One of Murphy's laws, I said, was that things are going to happen to you, they're going to happen at the worst possible times. Okay? Usually a running system will not malfunction. Okay? It only malfunctions if you start tinkering with it. Okay? So what we often do is we're leaving on a vacation and we want to make sure that things are working fine. We go and start cleaning the skimmer, we go and start messing with things, and then we leave. Okay? That's the worst thing to do. See, she's pointing at him. Okay? I tell people, a week before you're going to leave, stop messing with your system. Okay? I've had this happen. I've cleaned my skimmer before leaving, adjusted it, tweaked it. Worst thing to do. Overflowing skimmer. Or skimmer overflows, water level in the sump drops, and now all bad things start to happen. So never tinker with them before leaving. Since I'm running short of time, I won't tell you this one really horror story. I'm going to skip through that one. To show you a couple of things. This is kind of the mistakes that people make, and I made them, right? Design the system. I figured, this is my second tank that I did. Oh, it's got to have a ball valve, but true union ball valve is too expensive. So you get cheap and you go, okay, I'll just get one of those ones that only has union on one side. Okay. So that way, at least if things go wrong, I can still shut it off and remove the pump. When it did go wrong, this was before going on a vacation, this is one of those things where I said, oh, let me go and shut this thing off, clean out some of this salt crud everywhere. Turn the pump off. The pump was running fine until I turned it off. Right? I did that, I did everything, I started everything back up, the pump refused to start back up. So I said, no problem, I know I can do it. I got unions here, I got unions here. Well, of course, this union, being cheap, doesn't have a ball valve. So it's not a true union ball valve. So now I take this pump out to fix it. This tank's been set up for 5 years now, and in 5 years I had never touched this ball valve. Never had to do anything with it. So I'm trying to shut this ball valve, it does not turn. Okay. Doesn't turn. Yeah, you go, big deal, I'm an engineer, it's no big deal. I can make this turn. Get a hammer, hit this thing with a hammer, and guess what happens? This thing breaks off. So now I got a ball valve that I can't even turn. Okay? Now how do I take this pump out? Now the sump is full of water. Right? All this water is in there. Now you got this whole process of draining out the whole thing. So I said, I'll get smart. I took some towels and I shoved them in the end. Block the water from going out. Now I actually keep rubber stops just for this reason. I can put rubber stoppers on all my pipes that are submerged. Okay. So you finally take the pump out, you go, okay, it needs screws, is there screws here, I'll open it up, I'll fix it. And this is an absolutely true story, okay? The one wrench that I needed for that screw, I did not have. That's the one that's missing in the set. And this is all happening on Friday and I'm leaving on vacation on Saturday. Okay? Not kidding. I'm not kidding. You open up the pump finally and it's got crud like this. They're not being cleaned for several years, not doing the maintenance. Maintenance is important. Spares, we talked about this, so there's no point repeating it. Design them for maintainability. Things that are difficult to reach will be the first ones to fail. It always goes that way. Some other good design habits you want to follow. Make sure when you set up your system, things are clean and orderly. Okay. I won't tell you whose system that is because you'll kill me if I did. But just to give you some examples of things not to do. Right? You don't want to have your bare open ballast next to your skimmer with salt crud everywhere around and so on. A mess of wires. It's not good for safety. And one of the things you want to do is set up your system so that they're designed for what I call visual control. If you look at things, you should be able to tell something's out of line. Much better example of how to do things. Okay. This I can tell you whose system it is because you'll be pretty happy that I used it. Right? This is Joe Berger's system. And you can see from here, I mean, this guy has everything labeled. Okay? He's got an alarm switch, so this light is on, there's something wrong with his water system. Right? The water alarm. He's got a light that tells him if the chiller is working or not. Right? Same thing with the heater. So you can look at this system, and you can right away tell there are issues with it. Okay? You've got every pipe is labeled. So if he has to tell somebody else what to do, they can follow. And he told me the story. He said, oh yeah, him and his wife, they went off on vacation, and something went wrong. They had to call his wife's sister to come and fix things. And he said, oh, you know, look at the hose coming out of the calc reactor. And she goes, I don't know what a calc reactor is. You know, so he has all these labels. Good idea. Okay, good design practice. Same thing with this guy here. This guy even has his protein skimmer labeled. Okay, so that way, if he ever has to talk somebody through it, he knows what to do. He's such a fanatic about it. He even labels the people that come to his house. And lastly, this is my last slide. I'm not going to talk more about this. Is once your system is all set up, try and simulate the failures. Okay, try and at least make sure that you can run through and say, okay, if this failed, let me see what happens. So unplug it, simulate it, okay? That way you're doing it in a controlled environment and you at least have an idea of what's going to happen, right? You don't want to end up with situations like these. Then simulate people sitting in their seats and you get tight seats, right? And lastly, this is the mistake we all make. We always think it's never going to happen to me. And that's the biggest point of failure in all the systems is you. Okay? So that's the last slide. Any questions? Yeah.
Thank you very much. First, I forgot the one thing I wanted to write. I'll remember it, but it took a couple of it.